Welcome back to another podcast. Good to be back with you, Deuce. We'll talk about this weekend's FedEx Cup after a fantastic finish last weekend in last week's FedEx. Give me your thoughts on what transpired last week with Spieth and DJ and your overall thoughts on the tournament.
Yeah, good to be back. Football is about to be in full gear, but we still have plenty of golf to talk about. So last week was week one of the FedEx Cup playoffs. We were at the Glen Oaks Club in New York, and it was awesome to watch. We finally got a showdown between arguably the two best players in the world, DJ and Spieth. We haven't seen something like that in quite a while, so I think it was really good for golf. And DJ, I think, proved to a lot of people that he is not the same player he used to be. His game has dramatically improved. I think we saw that, especially with that last little flip wedge he hit in there to about 2 feet to take the trophy away from Spieth.
I thought it said a lot about his wedge game and where he feels laying up on 18 in the regulation and playing for par.
6-7 years ago, old DJ, still one of the better players in the world, but maybe he hits that wedge to 20 feet, but there's no way he makes that putt 7 years ago.
No.
He hit a really good wedge shot. I think he thought that was actually going to back up a little bit. It was a little unlucky to stick on that hill. And to make the downhill or just to get into a playoff shows that he's a totally different player.
Your thoughts on Spieth's Sunday?
It's kind of becoming the way he plays final rounds with leads. I think we've seen this 3 or 4 times now where he's got a 3 or 4 shot lead, and on the front nine, I don't know if he's just trying to play too conservative or is he overthinking and not being aggressive. But he squandered the whole lead. He doubled 6 the par 3 after hitting in the water, which, there's 40 feet of green behind the flag. Just dump it in the middle of the green and walk away with your 2-putt. He bogeys 9, and that's where the whole thing flipped. DJ's now tied. And it just like the British Open, the back 9, it's almost like he gave himself a little talking to. Hey, let's go. And boom, he flipped the switch, made a couple putts, birdie 13 and 14. And I actually was surprised that he did not make the putt on 18 to win.
I'm with you. I also thought that I was surprised when I saw the stat. Since his Masters collapse, he's closed out 9 of 10 times leading going into Sunday. I was surprised by that.
Yes, that's a great stat, but I don't think it tells the whole story. It's not.
No, they're not easy cruising.
He wins, but he doesn't win like Tiger used to, where Tiger would just put it away immediately. Spieth is prone to that front 9 losing a little bit of focus, it seems, or being a little too conservative, and he lets guys back in it.
Let me get your thoughts on some of the complaints or talk of, especially by the short hitters, of what DJ did on 18 in the playoff.
You could argue, maybe that hole should be a different spot in the routing. You can argue the merits of the hole, but to say that the hole is unfair because only a couple guys, maybe only 2 guys, maybe it's just Dustin and Rory, can drive it or take that line hit on 18, to me it's crazy. If you had a straightaway par 4 where the fairway ended at 280, let's say, and DJ had to hit an iron, does that make the hole unfair? Does that, that's sort of the argument I see that they're trying to make, which to me is just touting because you can't hit it 340.
I don't expect we'll see any changes based on these comments. Do you?
No, nothing's going to happen. There's a pull in golf to roll back some of the equipment for the pros just because they're making these traditional old golf courses obsolete. But I don't think people realize the amount of money the equipment companies have riding on this. There's no way they're rolling back anything anytime soon.
Did anybody do anything last week for their President's Cup hopes?
Not particularly pertaining to the President's Cup. This is a big week. You have, on the American side, you have a few names that are bunched up, 10 through 14. Charlie Hoffman, Kevin Chappell, Brian Harmon, Jason Duffner. Chappell and Duffner had good weeks last week, but it didn't really push them over Hoffman, who's just in the 10th spot. So those 4 this week, whoever has the best week of those 4 is really going to be in the driver's seat. And on the international side, their 10 is kind of safe. Emiliano Grillo is the only guy that can really make a move, and he would almost have to win to jump up. So their team right now, outside of the picks, is pretty safe.
Where do we go this week for the FedEx?
We're up in Boston, traditional tour stop, TPC Boston. Par 71, 7,300 yards, so nothing crazy. Plenty of room off the tee. And Boston has not had a ton of rain this summer, so the rush should not be a factor. The green should be firm. And I think you kind of see a similar leaderboard to last week where if you scroll through the top 10, DJ, Vegas, Rahm, Casey, Day, Thomas, Louis, these are all big hitters. And I think you're going to see a very similar leaderboard this week where Bombers have a big advantage.
Any big names or traditional names that golf fans would be used to seeing move on to the third leg in danger of missing?
Yeah, two big, really big ones. Kind of 2 different reasons, too. Adam Scott's currently 73rd. He skipped last week, birth of the child. He was not expected to play this week. He had said, he's going to take a few weeks off to be with his family, but surprisingly is teeing it up this week to try to move on in the FedEx Cup. Maybe to work himself into a better playing situation for the President's Cup. We'll see. So he needs to make a move. And then Bubba Watson just hasn't played well this year. He showed some signs of late that maybe he's found something, but he's at 72, so he also needs a good week.
Who are you looking at this week? Who are some of your leans?
Bombers this week, you'll find all over the leaderboard again, I think. Big name leans. DJ, I think, has a really good chance of going back-to-back. Jason Day, I really like. He's starting to put it together. Last week, 1 round really hurt him, but other than that, he backdoored a pretty good top 10. John Rahm, really good chance to win last week. Kind of let a couple loose shots bother him too much. And then I really like Louis Oosthuizen this week. I think his game sets up really well. And he's a guy, when he starts playing well, especially with the putter, when he gets it going, he's tough to beat. Some sleepers, Tony Finau, Keegan Bradley, and Russ Henley. Finau and Keegan obviously hit the ball a mile. And then Russ Henley, guy's not built like Tony Finau. He's not 6'4", but he can really move it off the tee, and he's one of the better putters on tour. Anybody
that you would advise staying away from?
Yeah, Phil. Since the split from Bones, at the time, I didn't think there was much of a story there. Just, maybe needed a change. Maybe Bones wanted to do something else. But Phil has been awful since the split. So that kind of has me thinking maybe there's more to that story. Stricker said that it's up to him if he wants to play in the President's Cup, but so is the spot up for him, which is surprising to me, given his recent form. A couple other names to stay away from. Zach Johnson, I just don't think it's a good course fit. And same with Bill Haas. This course kind of lends itself to hitting the ball far. Neither one of those guys really pounded off the tee.
The way the course is set up and the way guys are playing, anybody that could take advantage on the outside of the U.S. President's Cup team to get their name into the mix for the picks?
Yeah, the one name that I already mentioned, Henley, he's a little far down. I think he would have to win this week to get his name in contention. I think the one name that's sitting 15th in the rankings right now is Gary Woodland. He's a guy, obviously, that moves it off the tee a mile. If he has a week where he, finishes first or second and gets up into that 11-12 number, I think his name could be in consideration for a pick, at least.
Any value plays?
Yeah, let's move on to some bets. I think DJ at 700 is still sort of a value. When a guy's playing that good, he's tough to beat. So I think even the 700 is a good price. Some middling guys, Day and Rahm, are both at 1,700. I would be comfortable at those numbers. A little deeper, Louis at 3,300 is a great value. Justin Rose and Kevin Chappell at 4,000 is free money to me. Either one of those guys can win. And then if you want some long shots, I like Russ Henley at 8,000 and Johnny Vegas. A little inconsistent, but played very well last week with a top 5. I think this course fits him pretty well too.
If you had to pick 3 of those that you just gave, which 3 would you lean towards?
I think just because of the number, I think Dustin he would be my pick to win. But from a betting standpoint, I think I would take Day at 1,600, Louis at 33, and Chappell at 40 to 1.
So your pick is DJ?
Yeah, if you're just giving me anyone on the board, no matter what their price is, I would take Dustin to go back to back.
Any other golf notes you want to discuss?
Don't think so until Tiger makes some news. I think that's it.
Any leans on the college football games tonight? The only one that I saw of note was Ohio State, Indiana. Ohio State minus 20.5.
I'm assuming that game is at Indiana.
Correct.
Based on that line.
Ohio State
first game of the year,
has.
I'd like to stay away from a road game.
Ohio State does have Oklahoma looming next week.
Yeah, that's a stay away opening road game for me.
I would give out the lean of the over 57.
I could get on that.
Just a lean.
Yeah, I can get on that.
Well, fantastic job by you today. Enjoy the golf, enjoy the football this weekend. We'll be back tomorrow to give out our official college football plays.
I love it. Golf clap for the host.
Talk to you soon.
See you, buddy.
See you, buddy.